Right. Hi, everyone. Ravani team is back with an exciting Ravani Pods episode. Today, we have the very exciting, the multi-talented, the uber duper superstar, Shehryar Ali Mirza with us. Hi,
Yoo-hoo!
Shehryar.
Hi everyone.
Woohoo!
Nice to be here on Ramani.
Yeah. Look forward to a very exciting conversation with you, Shehryar. Thank you for joining us. I think let's just get into it right away. Shehryar, kya ho raha hai? What's happening?
All well, started the new year with zero resolutions because because I think the zombie apocalypse is near. So no, just kidding. I think
Okay.
Get into your bunkers.
anything else, I'm waiting for the aliens to show up, at my house, and you know. But 2020 has been that kind of year, so I think it's we're enjoying winters. So मैं इस्लामाबाद में रहता हूँ, तो यहाँ पे सर्दी है, तो बड़ा कोजी मैंने अपने कमरा बनाया हुआ है, हीटर चला हुआ है, और so I'm माशाल्लाह in a good space. So सिर्फ सर्दियाँ मनाई जा रही हैं इधर इस टाइम पे इस्लामाबाद में.
How is
So what
the
is-
COVID position there?
It's better than it is in Lahore and Karachi. So touch wood, ठीक है, लेकिन it's still not safe. And बहुत ज़्यादा SOPs की violations हो रही हैं. So I'm a little concerned कि I don't step out. I have my mother, at home. So very, very social anxiety not social anxiety. I would say COVID anxiety चल रही है बहुत.
All right. So let's start with the first question. Since you are an advertising guy, mashallah. So my first question would be, if you were to advertise yourself, basically सवाल यही है कि who are you? आप कौन हैं? शहरयार कौन है? Somebody doesn't know about you. How would you create an ad for yourself? I know बहुत ही कोई क्लीशे सवाल हो गया.
That's an easy one because I've put many ads on Shadi.com. I'm just kidding. I have once though. I'm just kidding. So, I guess I would say that I am a creative. Now, when I say I'm a creative, I try to encompass many of the disciplines of art in it. So, as a creative mind, I think in my life, I would say that I am a comms specialist, a creative writer, a poet, and a singer-songwriter. I won't say I'm a multi-instrumentalist, but I do play a bit of mandolin, a bit of guitars, and most importantly, I write my own songs, and I also try and singing them in Urdu and English. So pretty much, if anything else, I would say I'm a very cunning linguist. Because I think humor is very important, and sometimes I think I can be very funny. However, tragedy and comedy has always gone hand in hand in humanity, and it reflects in our art. So I think that I can also see the funny side of tragedy. And so all my life, I've read a lot of literature. I've been blessed to have done that. So I would say that I'm a cunning linguist, and I've had some moments in my life. Yeah, that's about it really.
Great. But what got you into this? मतलब, what was that moment of epiphany for you? कि नहीं यार मुझे ये करना चाहिए.
So I was born in Karachi, and we had a lot of dynamic relatives, and I've had some poets also. Mustafa Zaidi Saab, who's also from my father's side, and some great poets. So we were a family of academics, very, very academics. But my problem was that I was not an academic. And I didn't understand sciences. So very early on, I realized the left brain, right brain situation. And one day I was lucky enough as a kid to read a book on emotional intelligence. So I realized that I was never going to do much with mathematics and with other great things. Everyone wants their son to be an engineer, to be at that time, I think MBA was the rage. Everyone wanted their son to do MBA. I had serious issues with, I had a bit of an attention deficit disorder, I think. I had probably in hindsight. So I did not retain information. And it was very threatening for me as a kid to think I'm not normal. I thought that there were times that I was not normal. So my studies would suffer because I had concentration problems. But then I realized that that's a gift, because what I did was I had a very active imagination. So that active imagination started to mean that I started gravitating towards the arts. And luckily, because we were a very musical household in our house, all the time अब्बू जो थे वो बजा रहे होते थे पुराने records. उनको इकबाल बानो बहुत पसंद थी, फरीदा खानम बहुत पसंद थी. You can imagine. और 60s में से Beatles के records, Rolling Stones. तो बस for me that was my awakening. And of course, because अब्बू का reading का culture बहुत था घर पे, तो I started, वो academic तो नहीं, लेकिन मैं libraries में मैंने बहुत time spend किया. तो British Council में मेरा ज़्यादातर बचपन मेरा उधर ही गुजरा है. बचपन पे मेरे दोस्त क्रिकेट खेल रहे होते थे और मैं ज़्यादातर किताबें पढ़ होता था. John Keats, Pablo Neruda, you name it, all the great poets, writers from the time, I used to love Victorian poets and writers. So इसी तरह मेरा रुझान हुआ जी.
Great.
Then, so once you were into all of this, and how did that lead you into the creative journey you went on to? वो
Yeah.
path कैसे carve हुआ? Like people encouraged you, your family encouraged you, yeah, your teachers or friends, what?
ये आपको बचपन से शौक था.
हाँ, लेकिन शौक का बैकलैश बहुत होता है, because you have to understand the 90s was not an easy time to grow up.
Yeah.
The late 80s and 90s, उसमें हो क्या रहा था कि बहुत ज़्यादा डॉगमास और टैबूज जो अभी भी मौजूद हैं, वो थे कि बेटा अगर डॉक्टर या वो नहीं बनेगा MBA तो ये फेलियर है. और वो फेलियर का जो डर होता है वो बहुत आपके O levels में A levels में आपको मैनिफेस्ट कर देता है, आपको इनसिक्योर बना देता है, आपको हर तरह के कॉम्प्लेक्सेस आ जाते हैं. सो आई आल्सो हैड दैट वाज अ प्रॉब्लम. दूसरी चीज ये थी कि म्यूजिक से आप कमाई नहीं कर सकते, और वो आज तक सच है. मैंने कभी किया नहीं, लेकिन म्यूजिक का मुझे इतना ज्यादा शौक था कि इवन माय पेरेंट्स वर लिटिल, वो दूसरे कमरे में अम्मी, इसलिए मैं ज्यादा जोर के नहीं बोलूंगा, लेकिन दे वर थोड़े कंसर्न थे कि बहुत ज्यादा इसको जुनून है, कहते हैं ना जुनून है. वो आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड दैट. टीनेज में आपको पता है रिबेलियन होता है, और फिर आपको रॉक म्यूजिक की तरफ ज्यादा आप आते हैं, बाल लंबे होने लगते हैं, तो फिर आदतें खराब होती हैं. तो आई कैन अंडरस्टैंड. तो लेकिन उस वक्त भी मुझे एक चीज पता था कि मैं म्यूजिक को कभी करियर नहीं बनाऊंगा, मैं उसको एज अ पैशन रखूंगा. एंड माशाल्लाह आई बीन एबल टू डू दैट. और दूसरा ये था कि A levels के बाद मैंने एडवर्टाइजिंग एजेंसी में, आई वाज लकी टू डू एन इंटर्नशिप, एंड दैट वाज माय pivotal moment, that I was so good at that time somehow as a copywriter that they so my career was very accidental as an intern in an ad agency. And then uske baad 17 years I was in the advertising industry.
Wow, that's pretty impressive journey. ये advertising की आपने जिक्र किया, so I have a question regarding that. As a creative person, when you think of yourself as a creative person, बहुत चंद चीजें जहन में आती हैं कि अच्छा आप क्रिएटिव हैं तो आप एडवर्टाइजिंग में चले जाएं, आप क्रिएटिव हैं तो आप ग्राफिक डिजाइनर बन जाएं. What do you think about this connotation of the word creativity? और अभी जो आपने बात की, I totally agree with that. I completely echo that. In fact, the pressure of fear, ये आपको influence करता है even when you are picking your courses for your O levels or A levels. आपने बस वही 5 वहाँ के और 3 ये अगर पाकिस्तान से कर रहे हैं तो 3 आपने उर्दू, इस्लामियात, पाकिस्तान स्टडीज, and then the 5 standard ones, the big 5s. और उसके अलावा कुछ सोचते नहीं हैं. In fact, I remember after doing my O levels, I went to the list of the courses कि बहुत सारे क्या क्या होते हैं. I was just amazed कि यार इतना कुछ कर सकते थे. And then उसमें से हमने वही घिसे पिटे RT किए. So what do you think about this culture, if I can say that?
So the culture has come a long way since when I was a child, and because you have to understand, there were no liberal art colleges जो मेरे ख्याल में कंपल्सरी होने चाहिए हर किसी के लिए साइकोलॉजी बेसिक कोर्स, क्रैश कोर्स फिलॉसफी का होना चाहिए. हम नहीं करते. और कंपैरेटिव रिलीजन आई थिंक खास तौर पे पाकिस्तान के लिए बहुत जरूरी है, ताकि हम अपने आप को सब खुदा ना समझना शुरू कर दें जो हम समझते हैं आपस की बात. तो मेरे ख्याल में एवेन्यूज बहुत ज्यादा ओपन हुए हैं. कल्चर ऑफ फेयर हमेशा रहेगा, लेकिन अब वो नहीं रहा. अब एक बच्चा लैपटॉप पे वीडियोस एडिट कर रहा है और शायद मुझसे ज्यादा पैसे बना रहा है या आपसे ज्यादा पैसे बना रहा है. मैं एग्जांपल दे रहा हूँ. ये एक इंटरनेट ने जिंदगी चेंज कर दी है. और 90s में जब हम इसको एंटर कर रहे थे इस पाथवे में, उस वक्त डायल अप था, तो आप समझ सकते हैं कि हमारी ग्रोथ लिटरली स्लो हो गई थी, बिकॉज़ वो डायल अप से इट वाज प्रोपोर्शनेट टू द डायल अप
जितना तेज इंटरनेट था.
यू नो. बट और हम नैपस्टर चैप्टर से हमारे और भी शुगल थे, गाने शाने डाउनलोड करते थे. उस पायरेसी का तो सीन था. But anyway, coming back to your question, I think अब जो है ना, there are no excuses. We are living in a DIY culture. Nothing can stop you. Only you can stop yourself. And that goes for even senior citizens in Pakistan. I take my mother's example. She is on the iPad and nothing can stop her from doing anything. So children, not children, but teens who have dreams can become certified musicians, can become certified artists, fine artists. They can do virtual classes. So I think the YouTube generation has been a paradigm shift, something that we were slightly slow on. So अब जो है ना information बहुत जल्दी double हो रही है. So there are no excuses and it's acceptable. Dance choreographers आ रहे हैं. Dance in a Islamic Republic, you can understand that. People have less qualms of sending their kids to Indus Valley or a NCA, for example. So this is very good and it's a great trend. वो आहिस्ता आहिस्ता acceptability हो रही है. क्यों? क्योंकि बेटा या बेटी जो है वो she's bringing home the money. पैसा आ रहा है. सिर्फ शुगल नहीं है. So I love the idea of commercial arts. So commercial में arts आप अपनी भी थोड़ी सी आपका कीड़ा जो है वो एक तरह से वो भी चल रहा है और साथ साथ आपको पैसे भी मिल रहे हैं. And
motivation to keep it going. Yeah,
keep you going because you got to sustain yourself. A YouTuber needs an iPad or a great machine, for example, and after a while they start to monetize. So I love this culture, and we have struggled. We are the generation that has really struggled. So I'm really happy for this generation.
perfect.
No,
ये जो आप ये
absolutely
pearls of
true.
wisdom गिरा रहे हैं ना, ये teens with dreams वाले, मैं लिख लेता हूँ मेरे हाल से.
Copywriting, Pote. Acha, Shariar, very curious to understand, you're speaking about it so passionately, the subject. What is it that creatively inspires you? It could be people, it could be things and spaces and ideas, but what are those things that creatively inspire you?
That's a very open-ended question. I think living in the present inspires me now more than ever because I spend most of my life either dwelling on the past or worrying about the future. So once I got into meditation, and I do meditation very regularly now, I've been able to bifurcate and realize कि मैं अपने present को नहीं गवाऊंगा. Present को अपने past के failures या disappointments में जो एक monkey की तरह आपके back पे है और worries of the future. कल को मेरी नौकरी होगी, कल को मैं जिंदा होऊंगा, कल को मेरे बच्चे होंगे. ये चीजें आप इंसान को खत्म कर देती हैं. So the only thing that inspires me is living in the present, and what that does is उसमें आप अपने appreciate करने रखते हो. You start to appreciate the little things in life. The things that really, what would I say, can make you tick. It could be a past relationship or an ongoing relationship. It could
Baggage.
be even baggage. I think catharsis to bahut aasan hai. It's very easy to look back and so as I would say answer to your question is one, any trauma or pain that you can channel, that's the easiest thing. In fact, I think with cheating hoti hai. Because it's the easiest to channel. But then there are other things that for example, you can put yourself in someone else's shoes. The good thing that a creative can do is also have strong intuition and also start to put oneself in someone else's shoes because he or she is an empath. So as an empath, you start to write about other people and imagine yourself in their position. And I think that's it's the closest to an out-of-body experience that a person can get.
Yeah.
So I think that I have that talent. I can put myself in other people's shoes and then try and write from their perspective and tragedies, comedies, everyday things,
So isko thoda sa zoom in agar kare to lately what has been inspiring you? What's the latest creative inspiration? Could be anything.
Sure. I feel that the politics also defines a man, and I feel that it's not just that you write and airy-fairy stuff and nice flowery English and people say, oh, no. And the same goes for songs, Moon in June and rhyming all these beautiful things is fine, but life is more than Moon in June. Life is also very hard and it's harsh. So last week, the Hazara tragedy happened and I wrote a poem. It was very organic. It came from the depths of my heart. And people appreciate something that is organic and from the heart because it speaks for itself. Just like when a person is in the zone and they sing and it's so honest and but it's also brutally honest, but it's also, it's raw. And I think I love that side of expression. So lately I wrote a Hazara के ऊपर एक poem, the massacre जो हुआ था, because I feel that we have to be, as empaths, we also need to have a political side. When I say political side, I don't mean we aspire to be the next Imran Khan, but we should have an awareness. Our awareness is what makes us human. And our awareness is not just about, like I said, writing a great poem about nature. I think we have a bigger responsibility. Climate change, genocide, all lives matter, all that, racism. These are things that we all go through. You and I, we've been, and I'm sure Abid, you live in another country. You understand where I'm coming from. Stereotyping, living in the 21st century, and yet, so I feel that our awakening, our political awakening, is very important. So lately, I've been gravitating towards social commentary and political commentary.
I think that's a great indicator of a living society as a living organism. If you cannot feel other person's pain, then technically you're just dead as a whole. फिर तो देखिए ना, वो तो ये तो जानवर भी कर लेता है अपने लिए, तो खा पी वो भी लेता है, रिस्क वो भी ढूंढ लेता है. But what makes us different is how we feel and how we care for other people. और जब भी आपने बात की लेबलिंग की, that's I think मुझे यहाँ पे आके एक दूसरे मुल्क में आके तो ठीक है, बड़ा एक्सपीरियंस इतना नहीं हुआ, मगर now when I look back, the way we treat each other back home, रेसिज्म को हम समझते हैं कि सिर्फ ये कलर, स्किन कलर पे ही चलते हैं, बट हमारे यहाँ पाकिस्तान में खास तौर पे बहुत सारी चीजें हम करते रहते हैं इन अ नॉर्मल डे रूटीन में, और हमने कभी ये सोचा ही नहीं कि अच्छा यार ये रेसिज्म है और ये जो है इससे किसी कोई हर्ट हो सकता है, चाहे वो कोई जबान बोलता हो, चाहे वो कोई खास किस्म के कपड़े पहनता हो, वगैरह वगैरह. लेबलिंग करने में तो हम लोग चैंपियन है. And I think this is one thing that as a creative person, ये आपको बहुत help करता है. You talked about empathy. The biggest challenge that I think people usually feel, people who are creative, वो empathetic तो होते हैं, but there comes a time जब आप खुद ही उस दलदल में जो है ना धंसने लगते हैं. So you want yourself to pull you out of it, or you want somebody else to help you do that. कभी आपके साथ कभी ऐसा हुआ है कि आप किसी का you are empathizing with the other person and then you are so involved in it कि आपको लगता है कि आप खुद ही उस environment में जिंदगी बसर करने लगे?
बिल्कुल, आपने सही, इतनी खूबसूरत बात की है, और मैं इसका बहुत शिकार रह चुका हूँ और अभी भी शायद कभी कभार शिकार रहता हूँ. बिकॉज अगर एक इंसान अपने आप को समझता है कि मैं सेंसिटिव हूँ, अव्वल तो हर कोई इंसान शायद समझ सकता है कि मैं बड़ा सेंसिटिव हूँ, लेकिन शायद फिरौन भी समझता था कि वो बड़ा सेंसिटिव है, क्योंकि इंसान की उसकी जो ईगो है ना, जो अना है ना, वो उसको समझती है कि शायद मैं बहुत ही सबसे बेहतर हुकूक बात करता हूँ, आई एम द बेस्ट फिलैंथ्रोपिस्ट. नो, what footprint are we going to leave? I keep asking myself कि मैं जब छोड़ूंगा तो मेरी legacy क्या होगी? So I think we need to ask that on a very human level. And that's not about winning a Lux Style Award or कि मैंने इतनी properties छोड़ी और मेरे पास इतने डॉलर थे जब मैंने जब मैं मरा. नहीं, आपने क्या किया इस दुनिया में, क्या पढ़ लिया? उसमें मुझे लगता है कि जो हमारे deeper challenges हैं, गिविंग का जो हम, आपको पता है हमारे रिलीजन में ज़कात का वैसे ही बहुत ज्यादा है कि how do we do that? But giving is also a smile. You can make someone's day by just giving them a smile. मेरे ख्याल में हुकूकुल बात जो है ना वो बहुत जरूरी है. तो मुझे लगता है कि, but coming back to your question, I would make it very brief, and I would say कि many friendships and relationships in my experience are toxic because although you try and give a counterpoint to them or help them, unfortunately we are not therapists. What we end up doing is we end up we tend internalizing their pain and their trauma, and then they just leave. But we end up with all that baggage. So why? Although I really appreciate the sentiment कि हम सबको we should be there for each other, you should also see a landmine and know when to walk away. Because an empath के लिए ये दुनिया बनी नहीं है. हम sensitive लोगों के लिए दुनिया बनी नहीं है. और इस दुनिया में सिर्फ cruelty है. अगर आप देखें तो अदल और jurisprudence, और ये बड़ा मुश्किल है. बहुत कम लोगों को अदल मिलता है, justice मिलता है. So let's be very honest कि ये दुनिया बड़ी फरेबी है और बहुत क्रूल है. तो उसमें मुझे लगता है कि it's better कि एक हद तक एक चीज को एब्जॉर्ब करें, like you mentioned, लेकिन कहीं एक चीज को समझें कि टॉक्सिक क्या चीज है, टॉक्सिसिटी क्या है. So that's all I have to say.
Perfect. That's a great point, Shehryar. I think people can learn from this, and I think you talked about how it's important to recognize. How have you been able to recognize these indicators? This is now getting toxic. And I think the reason why I asked this question is someone can really benefit from this. That awareness, that consciousness, कि यार ये अब this point पे आ गया and I need to step back and let it go. How have you sort of developed that capability?
Oh, by getting hurt, by making the same mistakes, by falling down the same manhole every day, and then one day saying, no, I'm better than this. I think इसमें बहुत ज़्यादा resilience होती है, लेकिन एक हद तक होती है इंसान की resilience. तो इंसान भी कहता है यार मैं मतलब मुझे बख्श दो. तो I think friendships, relationships और इन सब में एक हद तक एक toxicity होती है. हमारा एक meter जो है उसको strong होना चाहिए, and वो वक्त के साथ आता है. So learning from mistakes, and I think then you don't deserve it. After a while you say I don't deserve this. So a lot of people I know in my friends, a lot of them are divorced, for example. Divorce to me is not a taboo. Why? Because if something is not working for you, walk away. It's okay because you owe it to yourself. So I'm just giving a small example. And I would say lastly, I'll just end by saying कि toxic positivity एक भी बड़ी मजे की चीज है कि एक इंसान अपने आप को through out कहता है नहीं ठीक हो जाएगा, I will pull through. It's okay. It's not a rat race. You might not pull through. When you start to accept, then you start to manage expectations, false expectations. हमारा सबसे बड़ा दुश्मन हमारी toxic positivity है, eternal optimism है कि हर चीज ठीक हो जाएगी. नहीं भाई, हर चीज ठीक नहीं होगी. And you can live with it. Can you live with it? See, we are all fighters. Mashallah, we're here, right? We can smile. So that's all I have to say.
Wow, that's awesome. एक सवाल मुझे अभी याद आया. And some people think that people don't learn much from their successes. Whatever you become at the end of the day is a result of your failures. तो कोई ऐसे कोई creative disasters याद है आपको अपने career के?
एक तो regret है वो ये है कि मैंने अपने music के साथ इतना नहीं किया. एक part है मेरा जो मेरे अंदर का जो egoistic बंदा है और मेरे अंदर ego सबके अंदर होती है. वो ये कहता है कि यार Shahryar, you could have done better with your music. Like for example, the quest for fame. ना करते हुए भी इंसान में होता है. Whether you like it. So there have been times that I've had regrets कि यार had I given more time to my music, for example, I probably could have done justice. But then normally फिर मैं उसको diffuse कर देता हूँ because I say no, my quest has been slightly different. It's not about recognition or fame. It's slightly been more about a creative expression. Normally when I say this, people don't believe me. They say कि नहीं यार मतलब है you probably now full of shit, right? You're talking, you know. But I say no. I think it's important that we don't dwell too much on those mistakes. So like you said, there have been many mistakes, some missteps that we've all taken in our careers also. And musically, I would say that I could have embarked. After I won the Lux Style Award in 2014, I was given an offer to come to Karachi, and I had some really good friends in the media. So idea ये था कि अब मैं tour करना शुरू कर दूंगा और मैं music को, you know, ज़्यादा I would do it. So it was a very important time for me कि मैं either I cash in on that Lux Style thing or I don't. And I didn't. I chose not to. So I've been able to live with it. But at the time, it really hurt me because I needed some self-affirmation. I needed some affirmation. And I thought that it would be good. But in hindsight, mashallah, you know, it's all worked out. It's all worked out.
Although they say that there's a joy of the unknown, joy of not knowing. अक्सर लोग सवाल करते हैं कि आप अगर अपने आप को कोई एडवाइस देना चाहते, कोई सलाह देना चाहते हैं to your younger self, what would that be? So shed some light on that. Or while I totally understand कि उस वक्त अगर वो चीज नहीं पता थी तो वही बेहतर था कि नहीं पता थी.
Definitely. So it's the promise of youth will never meet the benefit of experience. And to me, I understand that. And now I'm at a crossroads, you know, I'm just crossed my 40s recently. And I really realized that the benefit of hindsight जो है वो सिर्फ experience के साथ मिलता है, और the promise of youth जो जिसका कोई parameter ही नहीं है, because जब आप young होते हैं आप समझते हो आप हर चीज को फतह कर लेंगे. मैं तो मतलब the sky is the limit. And I think that, like you said, that is the unknown. That is the great unknown. And that is where genius comes. A lot of people, the 26, 27 apparently is the age of genius, and also drug overdoses if you're not careful.
Really? I thought it was mid-30s. I didn't realize 27.
Well,
way past it.
Well,
perhaps. But it's very hard to put a number, but I think that you know what I'm coming from, because you're not jaded. You're still, there is that thing, and
Yeah.
perhaps, but what I love about the 40s, and I call it the age of prophethood, and I've learned from that, is the age of Nabuwat, and I think I asked myself, okay, why was a prophet? Why was he chosen at the age of 40? Why not before? So then I start to understand a lot of things. कि उससे पहले उस तरह की अकल नहीं थी, इंसान थोड़ा फिकल होता है, और शायद इंसान के तबीयत में ठहराव नहीं होता. तो मुझे लगता है कि जब when you cross 40, which I call the age of prophethood, is where you start to really appreciate the other things. You start to understand where you're going, where you are in life, because you're probably now midway or more than midway in your life. So a lot of things start to make sense. और वो बचपन में आप समझ नहीं सकते, because you want to buy the next best LP player or the next car or gadgets. तो जिंदगी तो उसी तरह चलती रहती है, और आपके ख्वाब होते हैं, और इंसान के अंदर तकब्बुर भी होता है थोड़ा सा, कि मैं तो बस जीत जाऊंगा और मैं ये कर लूंगा, ये कर लूंगा. लेकिन after 40 you realize life is not a competition. And I think that's beautiful. That's very sobering.
Sharyar, curious to understand from the age of your genius, let's just say it was 25, 26-year-old Sharyar, till today, the whole journey that's been there. Talk to us about some of your best creative work for you, in your eyes, that's been your best work. Tell us about it. What got you into that, and why is it your favorite?
I wanted to graduate from a copywriter to a more visual creative director, which it was a journey. But I was lucky in 2006 मैं Karachi में था, तो I joined Ogilvy in Mayfair, and that's where I got to do a lot of good work. And all the good work was mostly the work that we do for pitches, when we actually when we pitch a campaign. And I felt that was the coolest thing, because I understood what 360 advertising actually meant. What a big idea meant was about amplifying an idea and seeing it across all the channels. And especially because of my affinity with music, radio jingles was something I was really good at. So I did a lot of jingles for Standard Chartered and, Cadbury's and, many brands, Mobilink and all that. So it was nice to hear myself on the radio, basically, you know what I mean? But it was more than that. More than that, it was about film. The medium of film to me was the most important thing. There was a shop called La Rave in Karachi, and I think I spent most of my time watching a lot of films and understanding films, and then using that knowledge to start to put in the television commercials. So I think that some of the work that I really look fondly back on would be, some of the work I did for British American Tobacco, even though it was below the line advertising, but I felt that there was a story there, a good narrative. I think I did some good work for a few banks like Standard Chartered and, back in the day. And then, of course, I went to telco's side. So I think some Zong campaigns were pretty good, as good as they could be. I did a couple of Ufone commercials also, which I thought were pretty good. And a couple of things for PepsiCo, which were decent also. So it's been an interesting ride. I mean, hard to single out stuff, but the best work was the work that we never got to see, because it was the work that we did for these pitches, what we call our pitches. And one day, maybe perhaps they'll see the day of light of day. Yeah.
So how did you manage that or perceived lack of creative freedom versus commercial correctness? अभी आपने बात की कि pitches में बहुत ज़्यादा अच्छा काम होता है. And finally जो product जाती है उसके ऊपर बहुत सारे filters लग के, and once again commercial correctness को मद्देनजर रखा जाता है. So what do you think about that?
If you're a passionate individual, then it takes a while to get the memo. But then I asked myself, okay, if you're that passionate and you're such an artist, then what are you doing in an advertising agency? Go and smoke up and go to a room and then lock yourself and pretend that you're Van Gogh or something, but you're not, right? So, but I had many fights because I really believed in ideas. And I was very stubborn and had many fights with many brand managers. I'm not sure I had any fights with Binish though. But I was very stubborn, and I was very passionate. I
can stop the recording if you want.
No. When you're passionate about something, you have to take a step back and realize that commercial art is like having illegitimate children, not getting too attached to your illegitimate children. That's my best analogy that I can think of. because you can't get used to, so ideas are not yours, they are for sale. So you have to learn to detach. And I learned the idea of construction and deconstruction. And I think the biggest gift of advertising to me was not falling in love with my own ideas, number one, because falling in love with your first idea can be disastrous. You have to wake up the next day and deconstruct and construct and deconstruct and deconstruct and construct. And that is beautiful, because then you can get closer to a better idea. Too many people fall in love with the first idea in life, and generally, we can fall in love with the first woman we meet, which is not a bad thing. Or we can fall in love with our, you walk into a shoe shop and you fall in love with the first shoe. No, I think you deserve better. So commercial art taught me not to fall in love with my own ideas, and number one, that they were not my proprietary ideas. So it wasn't easy. It's not easy. If you're a passionate individual, I would say it's not easy. And that's the bane of a lot of advertising people's existence. But it's also about mediocrity. In my industry, I've seen mostly people churning out the same stuff. I call them YouTube directors. I don't call them creative directors, because they go and beg, steal, or borrow ideas. So I feel that there's a very thin line between inspiration and plagiarism. And too often that line is crossed. So I'm not a fan.
All right. You mentioned about plagiarism and what do you say? YouTube director?
Inspiration.
Inspiration.
Well, plagiarism via, copying an ad or suggestive, yeah.
So I think even independent, आपने अपने बात की कि अगर आप इतने ही माशाल्लाह बहुत creative आदमी हैं, so why don't you go and become an independent artist and do your own work and be your own boss? I think even then, in that case, commercial correctness is very important. And that's one of the biggest reasons why most of the artists don't make a name or don't make it enough. उसकी वजह सिर्फ यही है कि वो अपने एक shell में they are बहुत creative लोग हैं. मगर जब तक वो फीडबैक को एक्सेप्ट करना नहीं सीखेंगे, जब तक वो अगेन कमर्शियल करेक्टनेस को नहीं सीखेंगे, देन दे विल अगेन वो अपनी आर्ट में बेशक अपने जहन में बहुत अच्छे लोग होंगे, एट द एंड ऑफ द डे ठीक है. आई थिंक दो रीजंस, दो पर्सपेक्टिव्स हैं इसको देखने के. टेल मी व्हाट यू थिंक. द फर्स्ट वन इज के art as a creative expression, but also at the end of the day, if you want to make it a creative profession, then फिर आपको थोड़ा सा outside in भी सोचना पड़ता है. What do you think about that?
If you decided to get into commercial art and many things like media, many people I know, my friends, they've moved and graduated over to the media side, media channels. They're into TV programming, branded content. Some are writing for TV dramas, and they're getting their kick. But the commercial correctness, you're so right, is so important because you cannot be too inward looking because you have to understand it is commissioned by someone. It's a paid project. So the minute you realize that there is a commercial, there are key performance indicators behind this project. So then you cannot be a munto about it. You cannot be a munto about it. You have to have parameters. Life में हर चीज की guidelines होती हैं. Advertising में, drama writing में, serial writing में, script writing में, choreography में, आप अपनी मर्जी के मालिक नहीं होते. You are a gun for hire, and you are expendable. Something that some people need to understand, because they think they're gods, but they're not, is that you are expendable because you're a resource. You use your brilliance, so you have to be on brand. So I love the idea of commercial correctness. I never put those two words together, but it really resonates with me, because when you say commercial correctness, I say, yes, you are a good writer or something, but you have to be on brand. You have to write the brand story, or a story that resonates with the brand. So for example, there's an NGO and I am the comms specialist. I have to come up with a story that they can see the reflection of, they can see the brand essence. That is the beauty. So it's a bit of a storytelling, compelling story, but it's also, merging it with the brand. And to me, that's a challenge. Not every comm specialist can do that, because it's also strategic, what we call stratcom, strategic communications. People are too self-indulgent. They think that just going into a room and smoking a joint, and they will get a great idea, but the idea won't sell. You can be the best creative artist in the world, but if you're locked up in a room, no one's going to know. You're going to be an obscure artist. Their life history is rife with examples of lost, misunderstood artists. Because जो दिखता है वो बिकता है, भाई यही है.
Right. Sharyar, what are your views on creativity, especially in your field, advertising in Pakistan? And let's say बहुत बड़ा हो जाएगा तो 5 साल को cover कर लेते हैं. Are we progressing, and how are we progressing? Any thoughts you have on making it better? What could you do? What would you like us to do, the industry, to get better?
I've had a love-hate relationship with advertising, and after 17 years, I was very happy to walk away from advertising. So now I don't have any sleepless nights over advertising, and I am not concerned. I am the least person who's involved or who can care, because I give a lot of my life to advertising, and advertising gave a lot of it to me. I was able to make a decent living, so I'm very grateful. But I am past the point of caring. I've moved on to B2B marketing. I work for an IT company now, and I feel that advertising has become a bit of a self-worship situation where people just, it's a little fraternity. And it's a fraternity that keeps saying, oh, we are the best and we are the best, or we could be the best. And I think that is not the case. Unfortunately, there are only 3-4 big agencies that rule the roost. And even that size of the pie is being cut because now young kids are coming with branded content and cheaper, I would say more efficiencies. And so with the way the world is going, the economy, the recession, I think that this will continue to recede, and you will see more young startups. And I think that's beautiful. You need young startups. You don't need the big monopolies of the world. And I'm all for fair, competitive, advertising, because advertising का ये कि आइडिया जो है ना वो किसी चीज का मोहताज नहीं है. वो आइडिया एक आपके जैनेटर को भी आ सकता है, वो आपके पीएन को भी आ सकता है. अनफॉर्चुनेटली कुछ लोग होते हैं जो अपने 1.5 की मस्जिद बना लेते हैं, देते हैं कि ये एडवर्टाइजिंग का आइडिया बस मुझे ही आ सकता है. आई थिंक दैट्स एडवर्टाइजिंग किसी आइडिया जो है ना किसी को भी आ सकता है. So like I said, yeah, but to be honest, I can't speculate about advertising, and I don't want to, because I don't care anymore.
So let me rephrase this.
What I did hear you say, there is progress, like there's the young blood coming in, so there is some progress in this.
There is.
It's totally like talking about your ex. You want to, but you don't want to. Okay. So let me rephrase this question. So let's say we have $100 million. I wish to cultivate this creativity in our culture. पूरे मतलब society की अगर आप बात करें, and just to nudge those people who are at this cliff thinking, should I do it or nah, I'm too old for this, या मुझे तो मतलब मुझसे तालिफ भी नहीं लिखी जाती, मैं शायरी कैसे करूँगा. So what are you going to do with those $100 million?
Wow. So I would just go back even to the times of the Mughals, and I would say that art only flourished when there were patrons. Without patronage, arts never flourished. When the Mughals were there, you had the golden age, and and many other examples. Perhaps I would say Turkey also, because it's fashionable to talk about Turkey these days. No, that was a joke.
Wow.
It is, right? I mean, I'm a big fan of Turkey.
It is, but I don't know why. Anyways,
yeah, and that's a conversation for another time.
I think, yeah.
Let's completely trash Turkey one of these days, but not tonight. But coming back to the patronage idea, I think that Pakistan में भी कराची में NAPA है. NAPA Performing Arts की मैं बात करता हूँ, तो NAPA is an institution that where young kids can actually go. You have to understand, formative years ही age होते हैं आपको कोई instrument को master करने के लिए. Beethoven, all the great Mozart started at the age of 5. So you have to understand that एक जल्दी बच्चे में वो germ डालना है, वरना शायद वो बात नहीं होगी. वही चीज़ है जिस तरह आपने गाड़ी मैन्युअली सीखी है, बचपन में आपका ज्यादा अच्छी प्रोग्रेशन है, जिसको कॉग्निटिव जो हमारा जो बिहेवियर होता है, जो भी है, तो आगे जाके मसला होता है. सो आई वुड से कि if I had $100 million, I would invest in mentor and learning workshops in more setups like NAPA, which actually, like I said, they're all about mentoring and passing on the traditions. Pakistan unfortunately has a culture where people die with their secrets. They die with their secrets because they say, I'm from this gharana and I will die with this gharana. So, you are a Khan Saab and, but that's not totally fair. I think music and arts is a gift from God that should not be exclusive. Our secrets we should not die with. So I think that a big chunk of the $100 million I would spend in inculcating skills, skill workshops, life skill workshops, but mostly performing arts, whether it's dance, it's performing arts, it's I would go for endangered indigenous instruments because I think rabab is dying out very quickly. There are many instruments that are rabab and many other instruments that will be extinct. तो मेरा तो बड़ा दिल दुखता है, आपका भी दिल दुखता होगा कि आप देखते हो कि हमारे जो इंडिजिनस इंडस वैली सिविलाइजेशन है वो जो है उसकी जो रेमिनेंट्स हैं वो खत्म हो रहे हैं. सो उसको प्रिजर्व करने में भी आई वुड से 25 million I would just put into preserving what's left of our beautiful Indus Valley civilization through heritage, museums, through curation, and then उसको inculcate करेंगे बच्चों में through workshops. बाकी जो थोड़ा बहुत पैसा बच जाएगा वो मैं फिर I don't know, आसिफ अली ज़रदारी को दे दूंगा. Just kidding. That's 20%.
Yeah.
Okay. So
हम लोग बैठे हमें ही ऑफर कर
देखे बीच कराची में. So please.
हम लोग भी बैठे ही हैं. But okay.
देखें भाई, अच्छा नहीं, I think that's
you can delete that last part. You can delete the last part.
अच्छा ये बताएं कि you talked about endangered indigenous instruments. ये जो programs होते हैं, things like Coke Studio or any other live session, recorded live session programs, ये कितने जरूरी हैं? अगर so what's going to be Coke Studio for poets or Coke Studio for writers? Something on those lines. Do you think something like that is going to work? या उसने कुछ काम किया है? अगर ये जो कोक स्टूडियो जैसे प्रोग्राम्स हैं, इन्होंने कुछ म्यूजिक की खिदमत की है या बहुत ही कोई अजियत पहुंचाई है?
It's amazing they've introduced a completely new generation, the millennials, to our beautiful folk heritage, to Sahi Zahoors of the world, to all the great artists. So I think it's a big service. Now, where are we going to go from there? That's a good question, because there are only so many classic songs that we have in our heritage, but it's important that वो झूलेलाल और सेवन शरीफ और ये सारी चीजें जो हैं लोगों को, इस जनरेशन को समझ आए कि ये एक चीज है. सूफीइज्म इज अ स्कूल ऑफ थॉट, बिकॉज ये चीजें अगर हम अपने जनरेशन को नहीं पास करेंगे तो फिर हम बहुत जल्दी फिर से मिस्टेकन आइडेंटिटी में रह जाएंगे. हमारी शनाख्त ऑलरेडी बड़ी कंफ्यूज है. आधे लोग टर्किश बनना चाहते हैं, आधे लोग अपने आप को सऊदी अरब के साथ लिंक किया हुआ है. तो पाकिस्तान की क्या शनाख्त है? तो ये तो हमारी यूथ है, जो हमारी जो करंट जनरेशन है. इफ दे डोंट पास ऑन these values, जिसमें म्यूजिक की भी है, कि अगर वो समझते हैं कि अताउल्ला ईसा खेलवी एक इंसान था, या साबरी ब्रदर्स जो मेरे बड़े फैंस हैं, जिनका मैं बहुत बड़ा फैन हूँ, साबरी ब्रदर्स, अगर आप कवाली को एज ए मीडियम नहीं समझेंगे तो फिर मुझे लगता है कि नहीं होगा. For what it's worth, Coke Studio is doing the job. Yeah.
So what do you think is going to, again, जो मैं असल में बात कहना चाह रहा था वो यही था कि do you think this model can be implemented on other art forms?
Let me start with what my limited experience with this. I'm not an authority on this. लेकिन publishing houses ज़्यादा चाहिए होंगे. तो I forgot, if I had a chunk, I would probably put $20 million into publishing artists, because there's no point कि बंदा एक bedroom artist है या bathroom singer है या जो इस तरह के terms होते हैं, और उसके पास बड़ी अच्छी poems हैं या वो किताब लिखता है और शाये नहीं हो रही उसकी किताब. मेरे ख्याल में उसके लिए, उससे ज़्यादा उसके लिए पेनफुल चीज़ है नहीं जिंदगी. तो publishing, lack of publishing, seminars, curated events जहाँ पे वो ये recitals हो रही हों. मैं सिर्फ एक छोटी सी एग्जांपल ले रहा हूँ राइटर्स की. उनको तो आउटलेट क्या चाहिए? उन्हें पब्लिशिंग चाहिए. पेपर अनफॉर्चुनेटली प्रिंट इज गोइंग आउट ऑफ स्टाइल वेरी क्विकली, एंड यू विल सी दैट इन द फ्यूचर. तो मुझे नहीं पता क्या फ्यूचर है पोइट्स का और राइटर्स का. आई डोंट नो क्या फ्यूचर है.
I think publishing wala idea is great in a way, because this has worked for music too. Back in the days, वो top 10 के cassettes आते थे, उसमें सारे singles होते थे. Artists were not able to produce an album on their own. तो सबके सिंगल्स मिला के आप एक वो बना देते थे, एक एक एल्बम लॉन्च कर देते थे एज अ होल. So I think same can be done or similar can be done for writers and poets too. सबको अपना अपना पूरा दीवान छापने की जरूरत नहीं है. At least just to encourage the young ones कि भैया आप आइए लिखिए, जो भी लिखिए, we're gonna publish it. जो ज्यादा अच्छे होंगे उनकी वजह से भी लोग लेंगे, मगर जब उनकी वजह से जब लोग लेंगे वो किताब को, तो इसी जरिए वो they're gonna find you out. You're gonna be get explored. So that's a good point. Vinesh, I think you have a question.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to ask Sharyar, you were talking about, all the problems and the challenges. I just felt you could talk to us about the challenges that you faced whilst talking to the aspiring creative writers, जो आप ही सुन रहे हैं इस conversation को. Your creative communication ideators, creative, aspiring creative directors, क्या basic challenges you faced in your journey? And then how have you sort of solved them? Your learnings, kya key learnings rahe hain? And then, they can seek inspiration from your journey and your learnings.
I would say that if you really can compartmentalize your life, it's very important कि आपने एक आपका Maslow's hierarchy of needs जो होती हैं, अगर आप उन सबको पूरी कर सकते हो तो आपकी लाइफ बहुत अच्छी रहेगी. Spiritual needs, material needs. So material needs की अगर मैं बात करता हूँ तो आप as a creative comm, if you're a consultant, you can do many multiple consultancies, which you might not 100% enjoy, but they pay the bills, and it's important to get that going, and then it's enough to sustain your other passion projects. So the way I've done all my life is that मैंने अपनी retain किया अपने आप को through my job and whatever salary I was able to make, and then use that to sponsor my passion projects, which could be a short film. It could be many filmmakers also. My only suggestion would be that try to get up on your feet so that you don't always have to pitch for patronage or look for a financier, because that is soul crushing. Looking for an investor or a financier can be soul crushing because you are losing your best years, and you perhaps don't have those years to say कि मेरे पास एक great idea है, award winning idea है, film का, short films का, indie films का, लेकिन so I would say कि get on your feet. Don't make an excuse कि I'm an artist so I'm not going to leave my room. Go out there, so once you have that money, you start to fund it, because no one else is going to do it for you. And the same with sponsoring your music. If a song recording costs $1 lakh or $1.5 lakh, earn that money or save and then do it. So that tomorrow you say that, yes, I have been able to do it. So don't let it hold you back. And mashallah, aajkal ka virtual world hai, consultancies hai. We live in a time of elance and, so it's beautiful. There's nothing that can stop you, but only you are your own enemy.
Well, you talked about music. So what do you think? Kuch ho jaye phir?
I would just say before I sing a song that I loved Alamgir as a child, and I was a huge fan. And then as we grew older, something about Islamabad that makes people very philosophical. I think it's also got to do with the weather and it's slightly less social. So it makes it makes for great songwriting ideas. So I was also a huge Vital Signs fan. What I loved about Vital Signs was their melody, and so now that I write my songs, there's a lot of, sometimes you can see some reflections of that melody, because I feel that melody is very strong part of any songwriting. So Vinesh, you might have heard me a few times perform this song.
Yes.
So if that's okay, yes. I would say that perhaps I can just do Tere Liye Hai Mera Dil Meri Jaan.
Oh, it's a lovely song.
Can't go wrong, right?
Yeah.
So, yes, can't go wrong with that. Oh wow, guitar bhi aa raha hai. Woohoo!
Yeah, let's. I hope you can.
Dedicated to Sharyar, ये तो बताना जरूरी है. Dedicated to.
I think I would dedicate the song to myself. All these years I've sung songs to everyone. Okay. No, tonight I'm going to dedicate a song to myself, because God knows I deserve it. So Tere Liye Hai Mera Dil.
Perfect.
फासले दरमियान आहा तेरे लिए है मेरा दिल मेरी जान होते हैं तो हो फासले दरमियान अपने आगाज से आज तक जिंदगी तेरे ही सोच में गुम रही फिर भी जाने मुझे क्यों ये एहसास है जैसे चाहत मेरी कम रही हो तेरे लिए है मेरा दिल मेरी जान होते हैं तो फासले दरमियान आएगी एक बार खो गई जो बाहर मैं उसी आस में जीऊंगा तुझसे वादा है ये हाँ इरादा है ये तू सुने ना सुने मैं कहूँगा हो तेरे लिए है मेरा दिल मेरी जान होते हैं तो हो फासले दरमियान आहा तेरे लिए है तेरे लिए है तेरे लिए है तेरे लिए है
Encore!
Wow, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Glad
that
you
was
liked it.
lovely. Loved
Thank
it.
you.
Thank you.
Shukriya बहुत बहुत.
मजा आ गया.
Really thank you for having me on the show. Well, it's not a show yet, but it will be a show.
Yeah, yeah.
Really
मुझे
hope
भी
that
गाना
you-
सीखना है.
अच्छा.
मुझे भी गाना है. मैं
जरूरी है
काफी अरसे से सोच रही हूँ और आबिद बिल्कुल encourage नहीं और पूरी रवानी team have not been encouraging me.
Really?
Not cool, Abid. Not
Sharyar,
cool.
yeah, totally uncool. Sharyar, I realize you have an album coming out. Would love for you to, talk to us about that briefly
जी,
before
जी.
we leave.
So the days of the albums are over now because now digital age में तो कोई CDs का कोई concept ही नहीं है. तो अब क्या होता है कि artist जो है वो अपने followers के through अपने Facebook pages और YouTube channels के through अपने songs release करता रहता है. तो उसमें फिर ये होता है कि क्या उसकी shareability है. So I'm coming up with a song called कैसे जाने दूं on 29 January.
All right.
It's very proud of the way it's turned out, mashallah. It's a very desi song with very A.R. Rahman-ish, with full of tabla and harmonium and all the beautiful instruments that our Pakistan culture has. Beautiful flute. I've also played some mandolin. So idea is कि कैसे जाने दूं is a ballad. So उसको मैं the video is coming out on 29 January, and it's a complete 3D animated video. So very happy and excited to share it because I didn't want to feature in it myself. I thought that it would be nice to tell a conceptual story. So the story is really, it's all 3D character animation, and I think it's a lover's quest to be united with his beloved, and you will see it in a certain way. So very romantic song, I would say. Surprised actually.
Really looking forward to it. Excited for you and rooting for your success.
Yeah, mark your calendars. Reminders लगा लें सब अपने phone में. 29 January को exclusively on Ravani. 28 की
Yeah, no, we will, and please do. We'll share it on Ravani nonetheless.
Yeah.
Share one last thing. So people who want to, learn from you, creative writing से related कोई चीज हो या music से, creative com से related, on Ravani platform, can they reach out to you on Ravani platform?
Totally. Totally. I mean, I would be happy to share whatever, I've been able to retain. And I'll be happy if they can reach out. Why I say that is because, like I mentioned a while ago, we should not die with our secrets. And what we are a sum of the mistakes we've made. So perhaps I can help someone from not making that mistake. So,
Yeah, no, just the point is, the purpose of Ravani Pods also in Ravani is to be able to share inspiration with people.
Be able to collaborate. So more than happy to do that. More than happy. Yeah.
Wow,
All right.
Sharyar, thank you so much for your time. 1 घंटा कैसे गुजर गया पता नहीं चला बिल्कुल भी. And I think that's a good indicator of a great conversation. So thank you so much for taking out time today. आपसे बात करके बहुत अच्छा लगा. अंदाजा भी हुआ कि where people are coming from. Although आपने कभी किसी से बात नहीं की होती है, तो आपको लगता है कि कैसा होगा बंदा and वगैरह वगैरह. But it felt like कि हम एक दूसरे को पता नहीं कब से जानते हैं. So thank you so much for being so candid and open about your opinions and views. And inshallah, isko jab we'll put it on Ravani very soon.
Thank you so much, and thanks, Dinesh.
Thank you, Sharyar.
We'll see you soon.
All right. Have a great weekend.
Cheers. Take care. Bye.